The best experience that any attorney can get if you want to be either a good attorney or a successful attorney is working as a district attorney, an assistant district attorney, where you're actually in there prosecuting cases. By far the best experience that I ever had, and the best training that I'd ever received was being an assistant district attorney, being a prosecutor. And it wasn't so much when you're trying big cases, but it's when you're in a misdemeanor court trying DWI after DWI. There were times that we were trying like 3 cases a week. I mean, you'd try one, and then you'd go try another one, and you'd try another one, and you're never going to do that with like a murder or sexual assault or something like that. But you're in a misdemeanor court where there's more cases than there's time to handle. It's just the reality of our legal system is that there's just there's not really a whole lot of murders that get tried, sexual assaults, real serious felonies, aggravated assault, whatever it might be. But I mean, there's a lot of criminal mischiefs and just a crazy amount of DWIs. But the number one best thing you can do is just try as many cases as you can. Because what that's going to do is it's going to force you to evaluate how you're doing things. And when you constantly see patterns, you constantly see things that are working and see things that are not working. I mean, I was so lucky that I got to watch, there's just dozens of different attorneys in trial, well over 100 attorneys, different. You see what works, you see what doesn't work, and there's certain patterns pop up. One pattern that is consistent, and it's consistent with criminal, and it's consistent with what we currently do at our firm. That being a jerk does not help your client. Like a lot of people have an impression that the best attorneys are real tough and real aggressive, but that's not true. I mean, that's absolutely not true. When I deal with an attorney that's aggressive, which is not very common, even when you see them on TV yelling and screaming, but the attorneys that are aggressive are almost 100% the attorneys that don't really know exactly what they're doing, or they don't feel comfortable, or they don't know how to evaluate a case. So, you compensate. It's like a cat trapped in a corner. If you've got a cat trapped in a corner, that cat's going to be really aggressive. But if you've got a cat that everything's working out for them and their life is going well and they're getting what they want, then they're not going to be aggressive. I mean, you show me an aggressive cat, it's a cat in a bad spot. And if you show me an aggressive attorney, 9 times out of 10, it's because either life or what we've done has put them in a bad spot. Generally, the other side of that is if you're getting along with everybody in our line of work, it's probably because you're not doing your job as well as you should do. As an attorney, if everybody likes you, it's probably because they're continually kicking your butt. The other thing that I learned from trying just a ridiculous amount of cases was the importance of seeing things from the other side's point of view. And that's something that none of us do. It's not really a natural thing. When we watch the news, we probably watch the news station that agrees with us, that sees things the way that we see them. If you're real conservative, you're probably not turning on CNN, you're probably not turning on MSNBC. And if you're liberal, you're probably not sitting around watching Fox News, unless you like yelling at the TV. I've got some relatives that are like that will watch the side that disagrees with them just so that they can yell at the TV. But in life, certainly in a courtroom, if it doesn't come naturally for you to see things from the other person's perspective, and for most of us it probably doesn't, that's the most important thing you can do. Because if you look at it from the beginning, kind of with a negative eye, figuring out, well, what's the worst case scenario? How do we not want the jury looking at it? It gives you a really good starting point for going forward and neutralizing that from jury selection on. With your mind constantly working. Well, why does that not matter? How do we make sure the jury understands that that doesn't matter? And so, if you only see things from your point of view, it's like a boxer that goes in there with no idea that the other side can actually hit them. And so they'll get in there and they'll come with some huge right hand and they'll get 3 shots to the face. And it shocks them. that the other side's allowed to fight back. So, a lot of times attorneys, I think it's unfair that a lot of times attorneys get a bad rap for being real negative because boy, that's what you want. If you've got an attorney that's just telling you that your case is so great, that's not doing you any favors. The other side of that is the last thing you want is an attorney telling you how great your case is until it's time to go to trial, and now they're telling you that you need to backpedal and settle. That's not good for anyone. The time to settle is early in the case before you spend a whole bunch of money on attorney's fees. The other thing that's really important to keep in mind is you're going to do more for your client by being likable than you are being a jerk. I mean, it's real easy to, if you like somebody, even if they're annoying you, even if they're constantly hounding you, trying to weasel money, it's a lot easier to say, okay, fine, dude, just go away. You can have the extra money, or you can have whatever concession it is. But if you're just a complete jerk, people will hurt themselves financially as long as they make sure that it doesn't help you. So I mean, there's just no benefit to being a jerk. Certainly in the courtroom, juries don't like jerks, judges don't like jerks. Make it easier for the other person to do what you want. Don't make it so miserable, and don't gloat. Just get out of there with a little bit of class. Just get what your client wants, and go away. Be pleasant coming in, be pleasant going away. If you're yelling and screaming, it means you're probably not getting what you want, and that's not good for anyone.